the amount that you're going to get out of this is however much effort that you are going to put in, okay? Hey ladies and gents, if you're watching, I want to jump on here and do a quick mini coaching session with you. This is a little bit what it would look like if you were having a coaching session with me. Obviously, we're not going to do a whole rundown. We're not going to do like all the ins and outs and like a super deep dive. That I save for my regular coaching clients, not for free coaching calls on YouTube. But what I want to share with you here today is some actual practical tools that you can do right now without having to pay a professional, without having to call like a mentor or a guide or somebody that you look up to or, a professional. So what can you do right now if you are dating or if you want to be dating? Honestly, that is the number one misconception that I find when people are looking for a dating coach. A lot of times people would meet me and they'd be like, oh, what do you do? I'm a dating coach. And they'd be like, oh, I would love to work with you, but I'm not seeing somebody right now. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, that is when I actually like to see people. I prefer to meet with you. I prefer to work with you when you are single and not currently in a relationship. That is the easiest time to make the most progress and the most headway. That is the best way to get the most money, like the most bang for your buck happens if you are not currently in a relationship. And I'm going to explain to you why. In a nutshell, I'm not doing this in any specific order. I'm just going to do it in the order in which it pops into my head, okay? I've been doing this for a little while, and there's a few things that you probably have already noticed, but maybe don't realize how important they are. I'm going to highlight how important they are to you, okay? If somebody is currently in a relationship, let's say you have been going out with this guy for 6 months or 6 years, okay? And then you start seeing a dating coach, okay? Now you're 6 months or 6 years or put whatever number you want in, okay? Guy is like super cute. Guys, I'm talking to you too, okay? So just change the word, okay? But I work with both men and women, so it doesn't really matter. I'm pretending to be talking to a lady right now. I am seeing a lady in front of me, but guys, I'm talking to you too. It's the same, it applies the same way, okay? So let's say there's this guy that you've been going out with for 6 years or 6 months, whatever, okay? And the two of you really like each other. So let's just say you're in this relationship with somebody and on the surface level, I'm not gonna say obviously it's going well, just like status quo. I mean, no one's doing anything wrong. He's not bothering you. She's not bothering him, whatever. Like, people are just, they're kind of living their life. What does this remind me of? The movie of Jennifer Aniston, oh, come on, where they were just living together for a long time. She's just not that into you? Is that the name of the movie? Okay, I didn't actually watch the whole movie. So I don't really have time for movies, and I don't like to really watch movies unless they're really critically important. Like if it's a really good movie that I can learn a lot from, then I might watch the whole thing. But otherwise, I like to skip around and just get the points that I want. But I think the premise of the movie, or I'm not going to even talk about that. What I noticed about what Jennifer Aniston's situationship was that she really wanted to get married. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because this is obviously, maybe not obviously to you, but I've seen this so much, and I think this is very common, where people end up in a relationship and one person wants one thing and somebody else wants the other thing, or the other person wants something else. So what was happening in this movie was that Jennifer Aniston really wanted to get married. Her partner, the guy she was with, did not want to get married. And he was really firm on that. They ended up, I think, breaking up, whatever. At the end, they got back together. I don't remember if they got married at the end or not. I have no clue. You all can comment down below and let me know. But my point is that it seemed obvious that they were happy together, because I think people were giving her flack about breaking up or whatever it was, or not getting married or whatever. I honestly, I can't tell you. But from the outside, he was nice to her, she was nice to him, they liked each other. So my point is that I'm describing a situation where both people are nice, they like each other, but it's not really going anywhere, okay? So if you were to start seeing a dating coach at that point, 6 years in, and you realize that you have two very different goals. She really wanted marriage. She wanted a wedding. She wanted to be married. And he thought that it was the most ridiculous thing to have to announce publicly and have a big party and, sign a paper with the government that you are committing yourself to this other person. He didn't understand why it was important at all. And we're not going to get into that of why people think marriage is or isn't important. If you're here, you likely believe that marriage is important. If you don't believe marriage is important, this is still going to help you as far as relationships, but I can't help you with I'm not here to convince you one way or another of wanting to be married or not married. You just might find useful relationship advice on here. So that is misconception number one, is, oh, I can't see a dating coach because I am not seeing anybody right now. No. That is when you want to see a dating coach, because you don't want to end up in a situationship where you like the person and they like you and you're really nice and sweet together, but then you find out that you have extremely different goals. And if you find out that you don't find out because the dating coach tells you, by the way. We're going to get into that in a different video. But, through self-discovery and all of the work that goes along with dating coaching, you come to realize that, wow, I have goals of X, Y, Z, and he has totally different goals. Or he's thinking, I want a nice big family, and she's like, I'm not ever having kids, okay? It's better to know those things before you start dating. Now, if you're just going in it for the fun of it, for the fling, for whatever, this is probably not the channel for you because the focus here is going to be long-term healthy relationships. Whether you believe in marriage or not, whether you believe in whatever you believe in, it doesn't matter. Relationships are relationships, and their core premises, and there are certain rules that just they translate to all different areas. So that is misconception number one. Don't wait until you're in a relationship to see a dating coach. See a dating coach before you get involved with anybody, start dating, anything, okay? That's not the only reason to see a dating coach before you get involved with anybody, before you start dating. There are so many reasons. That was just one of them. And let me give another one. It's not just about goals. Let's say you're attracted to a certain type of person, whatever that type of person is. Let's say and this is going in a whole different conversation that is a whole series of videos in and of itself. But I do want to touch on this because this is so relevant to so many people. And what is this? This is very, very important. What if, just by chance, let's just throw this out there. What if you have had negative relationships throughout your childhood? Your parents didn't pay attention to you, or you had a really dysfunctional relationship with your father, or whatever. So I'm speaking about let's say girls had a very dysfunctional relationship with their father, or a guy, let's say you had a very dysfunctional relationship with your mother, okay? So if you have not worked that out, whether it's through therapy, through deep inner work, through personal introspection, and just working through it, I'm not saying you must go to therapy. In certain situations, therapy is very, very helpful, but you definitely have to work through whatever your trauma was. If you had a difficult, traumatic, whatever, throw in all those words. If you've had that kind of childhood, basically, let's put it this way. If you had a childhood that you came out of and you're not close with your parents, you don't want to repeat anything your parents did, or very few things that your parents did, you want to live your life very differently than your parents did, okay? That's usually a result of being extremely displeased with the environment that you grew up in. I want to say this as gently as possible because I want to be extremely respectful to people who experience that. And I also want to make sure to encompass everything. I don't want to be too specific and leave something out, okay? Basically, if you've had a childhood that you wished that maybe you didn't have, and I'm not coming from trying to keep up with the Joneses kind of attitude. Some of that is just maturity that you need to just understand that different people have different lives. And then there's you really had a difficult life. For people who really had a difficult childhood, a difficult life, then you really need to work through that. And I'm not telling you this as oh, I'm going to boss you around and tell you what to do. I'm telling you this from lived personal experience, okay? I was attracted to a certain kind of person because I felt a certain way about myself. And while I love my husband, he's really wonderful, we both were attracted to very specific kinds of people, and we both were a very specific kind of person because of either how we were raised or how we were not raised, basically how we were treated throughout our childhood. And while I did go to therapy a little bit when I was single, not really so much, the bulk of my inner work and healing has been after I was married, and I realized oh, what are relationships? What does it mean to be in a marriage? What does it mean to be in a family? Because I really had no clue. And I come from a pretty large family, but I spent most of my years observing because of how my childhood was. That's not what this video is about. But my point here is that when you have a coach, a dating coach specifically, and you have that coach before you get into a relationship with somebody, that a good dating coach is going to delve very deeply into what your vision is and how to help you create that reality for yourself. We're going to talk about those exercises in a minute of what you should do in order to just start working on that on your own, without sitting down and working with somebody, without having to hire somebody. We're going to talk about that in a second. But it's not just about, oh, it's better to see a dating coach before you get into a relationship with somebody, because what if your goals are different? It's what if you yourself at your core would be different had you sat down and done the work, the inner work, looking at yourself, looking at your life, looking at what you want your life to look like, okay? We're gonna talk all about that in a second. But those are things that you could literally end up with somebody completely different. I mean, like light years different than if you had not done the work. So there's a huge difference between sitting down and doing the work and creating the vision and figuring out what that vision is even, and doing the work to get there. There's a difference between that and like who you would end up with once you do that work, and just dating whichever nice, kind, thoughtful, like all the good things, all those things, like package them all up, put a bow on it, and, you know, put a lady or a guy on, you know, into that package, and you can have a really, really, really nice person. But if at your core inside, like you are so different from who the person is, let's say your friend is setting you up, okay? Or let's say somebody at work, hopefully your friends know you, hopefully, but let's say somebody at work is setting you up and they don't know you so well, and you know, they see you're a really nice girl, you're a really nice guy, whatever. Okay, I'm gonna like just make this one gender, okay? Let's say you're a really nice girl and they know this really nice guy, okay? And you could both be really nice, really giving, kind, like, you know, good sense of humor, like all the basics, you know, tall, handsome, like gorgeous, beautiful, all that, right? You know, you can both have the basics in common, but inside, you could be literally light years apart. And that's why it's so worth doing the work and figuring out what you want for yourself before you even put yourself on the market. Because why waste your time? I mean, unless you just want to go out and have a good time and whatever, and the other person doesn't mind that it's just, you know, to go out and have a good time and it's not, you know, they're not looking for a future. But then again, you might not be on this channel. But if you are looking for a future with somebody, for something long-term, stable, like the rest of your life kind of thing, then why would you want to waste your time on a one night with somebody who is totally not for you? Now, I am very type A. So to answer that, I'm just going to answer that question. I'm very type A. And so in my book, it's like, why waste any time? I've had to like learn how to have like just chill time because of my intense, like, I want to get it all done personality. So maybe you do see the value in just like going on a random date with somebody. And I'm happy to learn like what the value is in there. Maybe if you don't have dating skills and you want to just go out and, you know, get out there, I think there is value in just going out and meeting people. But again, if you're looking for something long-term, solid for the rest of your life kind of thing, I would say that you could go out and meet people and, how shall I say, sharpen those social skills and just being around people. I know some people get very hesitant, like, you know, they're meeting somebody for the first time. They're maybe not socially awkward, but they're a little shy. I guess that would be a good word. They're a little shy. They don't like to like put themselves out there. So I would say instead of going on a date with somebody that you're not 100% sure is a great match, and you don't, okay, that's a bad term. You don't have to be 100% sure, but it's good to do the preliminary work to kind of understand if you're even in the same book. You don't have to know that you're on the same page yet, but are you even in the same planet, okay? It's good to know that stuff ahead of time. I'm gonna give a very basic example here. Let's say you've not done any of this preliminary thinking and you just put yourself on the market. Just a girl wanting to date, want to get married, but you'll date any nice guy. And let's say you have a coworker and they know this really great guy and he's like handsome and put together, super sweet, okay? So nice, right? She doesn't really know anything about him and he doesn't ask her questions, she doesn't ask him questions, but she calls him up, she says, and he thinks that this is obvious, okay? He thinks like everybody knows this, and she texts him, she says, I'm setting you up on a blind date, are you down for it? And he goes, yeah, sure. Okay, let's say he's very adventurous, okay? She doesn't ask him questions, he doesn't ask her questions, and he shows up on the date thinking like his lifestyle and preferences are very obvious, and obviously they're not. And the girl shows up on the date and he's gay and she's straight and obviously that's a no-go. And again, I'm making the assumption that the coworker who set them up didn't know that he was gay. That's why I said I'm setting you up on blind date, not she. Remember I changed that? Because he would have said no to going out with a girl. The girl Obviously, if she's looking for something long-term, rest of her life kind of thing, she's looking to marry a guy who is also looking to marry a girl. Do you follow what I'm saying? So that's at the very basic. That's like step one, okay? But my point is, it goes so much deeper than just basic preferences. Okay, what I hope you have gotten so far out of this is that it is so vitally important to understand who you are and what you are looking for and what kind of life you want to have before you start dating somebody, before you even enter the dating arena, okay? So how do you do that? This is my number one thing that I want all of my clients doing, like from day one. So here's what you're gonna do. I want you to go ahead and grab a notebook. I do this with all of my clients with anything. It doesn't matter if it's dating, relationships, careers, motherhood, whatever. Here is what you have to do. You need to go ahead, get a notebook. It doesn't have to be beautiful, doesn't have to be fancy journal, nothing. You could just go get a regular notebook from the store, and this is going to be your designated notebook for all of the stuff we're gonna talk about, okay? If you don't have a notebook right now, just grab a piece of paper, okay? Like any paper, I don't care. Write it on your wall. I mean, don't, unless your walls are like extremely washable, okay? Do not do this on your phone. I caution you, do not do this, okay, on your phone. You have to literally write it out, okay? There's science behind this. We're not gonna get into it in this video, but do not do this on your phone unless you're gonna use the pen thing, like if you've got the pen phone. Even then, honestly, I use my pen on my phone sometimes. I thought I was gonna like use it much more, and I like never use it. Rarely ever use it. But there's something in like muscle memory and your brain processes things, whatever. We're not getting into the science of it now, but you have to do this with pen and paper or pencil and paper. I don't care. But you have to physically take a writing utensil and write this on a piece of paper, okay? So pause the video, go get your writing utensil, go get your paper, and come back. Okay. I'm assuming that you are back now and you have your writing equipments with you, your writing paraphernalia, not equipments. Anyways, you've got your writing paraphernalia. Go ahead, and I want you to write down a list of, I guess we'll get a little detailed in here. Okay, obviously I'm not gonna do a whole session with you, but we're gonna do a little bit of a session. I want you to go ahead and write down all of the couples. Okay, if you know a lot, you don't have to write down every single one, but I want you to go ahead and write down a lot. Well, let me pause for a second. You can write 100 couples. You can write 2 couples. The amount that you're going to get out of this is however much effort that you are going to put in, okay? That's how coaching works in general, like across the board, okay? However much effort you put in, that's what you're going to get out of it. So for this example, for this exercise that we're going to do, for this exercise that we're going to do, however much time you spend doing it, that's how much you're going to get out of it. If you spend 5 minutes doing this exercise, you're going to get a little bit out of it. If you spend 5 hours doing this exercise, it will blow your mind and change your life, okay? If you spend 50 hours doing it, I love you, but you might need to take a break. So go ahead and write down all of the couples that you know, couples who have been together their whole life, married couples, couples who are dating, couples who are engaged, couples who've been in a relationship for 20, 30 years. Every single couple that you know in real life. I don't want to use like TV examples unless those are the only couples that you know, and in which case we can talk about that hopefully in the next video or in a future video. I'm not going to make a promise because that's a whole different, even though I do think that there is a lot to learn from TV couples, it's all scripted, okay? It's scripted for entertainment. Although I hope to talk about them in a video soon because there is something very specific to be learned from these couples on TV. Okay, so you're gonna go ahead, you're writing out all of the couples that you have known for however long. You can write your parents, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, like doesn't matter, people you work with, your coworkers, like literally people in your community, your neighbors, like whoever you can think of, people that you kind of get a glimpse into their relationship. I want you to write all those couples down, okay? So you can write number 1, mom and dad, number 2, Uncle Sam and Aunt Sarah, okay? Like whoever. That's funny. I actually know a couple, Sam and Sarah. Okay. So I want you to write down all these couples, okay? Hopefully these are all people that you know, you have witnessed their relationship, okay? You kind of have a glimpse into their relationship, okay? Now, hopefully you have at least 10, hopefully at least maybe even 20 or 30, okay? The more you have, the better this is going to be. So, there's going to be a part 2 to this.